Welcome to the first video on creating a Excel spreadsheet. This is what you will create in Chapter 1, Hands-On of Excel, the Save Sable River Foundation Lifetime Fundraising Summary. Just wanted to let you see what the finished version would look like. Some technical definitions. The two titles at the top are called just that, titles and subtitle. In Chapter 3, you will be creating your own worksheet, and we recommend that you follow the standards that the textbook teaches you. Have a title in row 1 and a subtitle in row 2. Row 3 would be called column headings. Column A contains row headings. We will be simply adding up the numbers in a row, in row 9, and in column H. That's the goal of the exercise. So let's create a new file and show you how to do this from scratch. So File, New, Blank Workbook, Create. This is page 8 where the stuff is that you enter. And I'll be doing some techniques that are probably old news to some of you. If, as you're typing, you realize you made a mistake, then use the backspace key and correct it. When I hit Enter, the cell pointer is going to move down one row. You can either hit Enter or you can click on the check mark up there. Gee, let go of what you're typing and reach for the mouse. I don't think so. Just hit Enter. Now I'm going to make a mistake on purpose in the subtitle. In a case like that, you have a couple of ways that you can fix. I'm just going to go back up there. Or you can come down here and double click. I still have one thing wrong, don't I? Excel does have a spell check. It's under Review, Spelling. There's my correct one. Change it. Now, I can sympathize if you use what's called a homonym, a word that sounds the same but is spelled differently than the one you intended, but I really don't understand when you have a blatantly misspelled word in your Excel spreadsheet. All people who use computers should just run a spell check so that they find the obvious errors. All right. Coming down to the column headings, which are on pages 10 on. We'll just type those quickly. Now, instead of hitting Enter or the check mark, I wonder what happens if I hit the check mark. See, it keeps me in the same cell, so that might be a good reason why you'd want to do that. But in this case, I misspelled chamber. In this case, if you hit the right arrow, it does enter and moves it to the right. So if you're entering across in a row, then that arrow technique is very, very helpful. We have a situation here where the names of the towns are larger than the cell that they are in. That's Not a problem. We will have people who try to enter all of this in one cell, putting spaces between it, etc. That's what happens when you don't go to a class and realize that you should be putting items into each individual cell. Speaking of a cell is an intersection of row and column. I guess I did column and row. The address of the cell is frequently found up here at the left in the name box. And that is how we know where we are in the spreadsheet, where our cell pointer is. That is this large boxed in area where our cursor is pointing. Our cursor will be represented by a large plus sign, except sometimes it's a small plus sign. We'll talk about that later. Let me fix chamber here. There. Now we have the row headings. They call them row titles. Definitely hit enter right there. Page 13 says to enter numbers. The book has you entering the numbers across, but my personal opinion is that it's better to enter them in columns. As you type the number and hit enter, it goes down, which seems to indicate that this is the way the authors of the software viewed it too. I used to make you type all of the numbers, but I've provided the numbers for you so you can copy and paste them in. You type the number and you go down, etc. I put the numbers in another file out there for you, so if you retrieve that file and just copy those numbers, I use Control-C, dotted line, back to the other one. Make sure you're in the right spot, B4, Control-V. Now, you might find that some items that you entered, for instance, this one here that's 0.39, on your computer it comes up as a 0.4. I can have students in the classroom sitting side by side typing in the numbers, and one will turn out 0.39 and the other one will turn out 0.4, even though there's really a 39 in there. Don't fret about that. We're going to format it and tell it to print with 2 decimal places. Have no clue, haven't been able to figure that out in, we're pushing 25 years now. It's just that way. Whether it's something to do with the time of day, the monitor, I don't know. Don't worry about it. Okay. We are on to page 15. And I have a little story to tell you about where I worked before, a large company. We were doing a spreadsheet like this the last day of class. They brought their own applications from their area and we worked on them together. That's the reason my spreadsheet experience is so strong, is because I've seen so many actual live ones. The student asked for a calculator, and I said, well, I can go find you one, but why do you need it? And she said, well, I need to add up these numbers and type in the answer. And we said, let's go back to the first 10 minutes of class. I think we missed something. So if we come back here to home and look for this thing over here, the sum symbol. There are, a half a dozen or more other options underneath it, but for today we'll just use the one that adds up. So if I'm down here and I click on that, it's telling me that it's going to sum up B4 through B8. See that? The colon stands for through. Well, you know what? It's really not B4 through B8. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 away through 1 away. That's what's really in there. Hold that thought. In the olden days, we needed to be able to add lines in and so forth, so we always built in a blank line. Don't do this, just watch, learn. Now if I come over here and do the auto sum, whoa, it's making the wrong choice, isn't it? The point of me showing this is that you cannot always just click on stuff and assume that Excel is going to do the right thing. You actually have to look at what it's doing, saying, oh, no, you're doing the wrong thing, let's escape. But I have to show you that somewhere. I'm going to delete that one, come back here. It is possible for me to copy that pattern of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 away through 1 away. And I'm going to make my cell pointer turn from the big plus sign into a small plus sign by hovering over the little square box at the lower right. That's called the copy fill handle. Today we're copying with it. I'm going to drag it and go over like that, and it copied that pattern of 5 away through 1 away. This is the beauty of it. This is why we get a little dismayed when we find students who aren't using this and actually type in all the formulas by hand. Oh my goodness. So if you're one of those, your brain should be saying there's got to be an easier way. It's a computer. Listen to your brain, ask questions. It's okay. It gets better. If I highlight column H ahead of time and hit the sum button, it goes, the only thing I can do is add up across, and that's exactly what it does. It adds up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 away through 1 away. And notice that we added across with rows in that lower right-hand corner. That's kind of the standard I follow. It's not hard and fast, but that does make it easy to copy. Let me check my notes here. We need to save this file, and then we'll be at the end of this piece. I recommend that you go back to A1 or some sensible place before you save. And if we go File, since this is a brand new book, if we just go Save, it takes us into the Save As. Now in the book they have you putting in really long file names. This is page 20. Save space, Sable space, River space, Foundation. Well, Blackboard changes that space into a %, something else, and then a %. It takes up a lot of space just putting in a space. So I recommend that you run the file names together, number 1. Number 2, shorten them, because Blackboard adds your logon ID, your name, the date and time that it was saved at, adds that all on to the file name. And the names get unbelievably long. So the thing that would be most kind, though, for me is if you start with your 2 initials. I'm going to pretend I'm Zweil's Wiki here. So ZZ, Save, Sable, and then, something like FND for Foundation. That would be a perfectly adequate file name as far as I'm concerned. This takes us to the end of our video. You're going to see a different name in the next one because this is a recreate from a couple of years ago because I managed to lose the original. And in order to put this out on YouTube, I had to recreate it. Points that you should have taken out of here are you can correct as you're typing by hitting backspace. You can go back and correct afterwards by going to the formula bar or else directly in a cell. You can type and hit the right arrow, which will then enter and move you to the right. You can type and hit enter and it moves you down. Type numbers. Do not put in $ and commas and stuff like that. We add formatting later. We can use the sum function button to get totals very easily. And when you save the file name, feel free to shorten what your textbook says. It is helpful if you put your initials as the first thing, because then if I'm not grading in a group but individually, I know that I actually got your file and not the previous person's, because sometimes I'm tired. We'll see you back in a few minutes for the next video where we make this thing look decent. Bye.